Hello, everybody. Welcome to tonight's class. It's a pleasure to be here, especially because in this unit, we're going to learn phrasal verbs. Pretty excited about it. I hope you can use them every day because most people who wants to learn English, they get to a point in English where they get phrasal verbs, but they don't use them, so they forget them and they don't speak English fluently. So use them every day. Check. Most people, when they get a small list of vocabulary, they think, oh, this is Little English, so I'm not supposed to use Little English. I need more vocabulary, right? But then you start getting and getting and getting and getting more and more and more and more vocabulary that you don't use. So you get to a point where you have a lot of vocabulary here in your mind that you don't use. So your brain start asking you for traduction. Yeah. The brain is asking you to understand it in Spanish because it cannot identify the way it can use it. Yeah. So, not because you think it's a little list of English, you are not supposed to use it. So, use it, okay? And we're going to start with a little list. But this list is for things in a home. You may already identify these things in a home, but you are going to identify them in English. So, you write as a title, things in a home. For things in a home, we have first the bathroom. In the bathroom, you may have the sink or a sink. Oh, wait a second. A sink. A sink is the place where you wash your hands. Yeah? A sink is the place where you wash your hands. And then you have a toilet. You know what you have to use the toilet for. Every time you need to go to the bathroom, you use the toilet. And you may also have a shower. A shower is pretty common. A shower is what most people have in their bathrooms. A shower is where you take a shower. So you're standing in the shower and you use all the products you use to wash your hair, right? To wash your body, yeah? Standing. You're standing under the shower. Or you may also have a bathtub. In a bathtub, you're not standing, but you're lying. You're lying in a bathtub, yeah? And you're relaxing in a bathtub, different to a shower where you're standing. Yeah? So in a bathroom, you have a sink, toilet, a shower, and you may also have a bathtub. Then we have the bedroom. Most people confuses bathroom with bedroom. Bed, bedroom, bath, bathroom. Bathroom, bedroom. In the bedroom, you are supposed to have some curtains to cover the windows. Yeah? Some curtains to cover the windows from the sun. So when you're sleeping, you don't have the sunlight coming through your window right to your eyes. So you cover it, yeah, with the curtains. Or you may also have a dresser. Do you know what a dresser is? So check. I'm going to use my drawing skills so I can show you a dresser. That's why I am a teacher, but I will do my best, okay? So when you have a dresser, is a place where you have drawers, yeah? So you have drawers with your dresser. These things I'm drawing are the drawers. So check, I'm drawing drawers in the dresser. So you have a drawer where you can have some personal stuff, yeah? And most dressers, sorry, not drawer, but most dressers have a mirror so you can sit and do your hair, right? In front of the mirror from your dresser. You can open the drawers so you can look for some personal stuff, and there you go. That's a dresser. Yeah, I'm going to erase it. More than the dresser, you're supposed to have a closet. This is basically the same in Spanish, right? A closet. Yeah. And of course, something characteristic from the bedroom, a bed, right? That's because it's a bedroom. And then you have the kitchen. 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 Did you know the kitchen is also a room? The kitchen is also a room. Yeah? So when you are about to buy or rent a house and you want to know how many rooms are there in that house, you consider the kitchen because the kitchen is a room, okay? But you don't say kitchen room, you only say kitchen, but it's a room. Yeah? In the kitchen, which is another room in the house, you may have a refrigerator. Refrigerator. In the refrigerator, you can put some things that are supposed to be fresh and cold. Yeah? And then you may also have a stove. The stove is where you cook your meals. Yeah? A stove is where you cook your meals. And then you may also have a dishwasher. This is not pretty common in Mexico. In Mexico, a dishwasher, we are the dishwasher. Yeah? But in the United States, no. They have a machine. It is more common. Yeah, it is more common where you put all the dishes you used for your when you ate your meals, and the dishwasher wash the dishes. Yeah, and you may also have some cupboards. Some cupboards. But what are the cupboards in the kitchen? You may have the stove. Let's pretend this is the stove. Yeah, and right above you, you have cupboards where you can place the, oh, sorry about this ridiculous drawing, but it's so you see what a cupboard is. You have these cupboards with some doors, and then you go and open those doors, and you can see maybe some dishes that you can place there, yeah, or some groceries that are not supposed to be in the refrigerator, and you open these doors so you can take a glass or a dish or some groceries, your cereal that you don't put on the refrigerator, yeah, those are cupboards. So from this vocabulary until now, do you have any questions? Okay.
Yes, teacher.
And uh-huh.
Um, Toilet.
Okay. In the bathroom, you use the shower to wash your hair, to wash your body. You use the bathtub to wash your body. You use the sink to wash your hands, and you use the toilet to poop. Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Perfect. Any other?
Curtains.
Curtains. These curtains cover the windows from the sun. Yeah?
No.
Okay. Oh, my drawings are excellent. Maria, please.
Teacher, the cupboards also can be for
Next to the stove?
yes.
Yeah. Sometimes these cupboards or these doors next to the stove are covering something you don't want people to see. But yeah, you can also have cupboards there.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm. And we also have the living room. Living room. In the living room, you may have a sofa. The sofa is for more than two, three. It depends on how big the sofa is. It's for the whole family. Yeah. And when there is a sofa for only one person, you don't call it a sofa, but you call it an armchair. Yeah. So the sofa is supposed to be for more people and the armchair for only one person. You may have a sofa, an armchair, and a coffee table. This coffee table, this term comes from the reason why you are supposed to use this table. This table is not the table you would use to eat your meals, but it's a coffee table. It's short, okay? Where you are supposed to have a coffee or tea with your guests. Yeah? Yeah. That is basically why this is called a coffee table. And you may also have some shelves. What are shelves? I'm going to put all my effort here so you can see a decent drawing. Check. You can have shelves in your closets. You can have shelves in the living room. You can have shelves in the cupboards. So shelves are basically everywhere. You can have shelves in the bathroom, but I'm going to draw what a shelf is. A shelf is basically wood. They're made of wood. And you have these shelves so you can place some things, but without doors. So you are not going to put some doors there, but you can have them. These are the shelves. Look at it. Oh, I think this is a pretty good drawing. So you have shelves, and you can use these shelves to place some photographs so people see your family when they visit you. Yeah? Is it looking better? I hope it's looking good. Okay. So you may have shelves in your closet, yeah? So in your closet, you may have these kinds of shelves so you can put some personal stuff. Is it clear? Do I draw one more shelf? Okay, I will draw another one. So this is another shelf. And you can have these shelves, but without walls in the living room. So in your living room, you are only going to have the shelves, not the things that I draw beside them. Yeah, but only the shelves where you can put something so people see it. Most of these shelves in a living room are used for people to place some photographs. Yeah, something so people see them. But you can have shelves in a closet too, where you can put some other things, not a photograph, because a photograph is not going to be seen in a closet. Yeah, but is the term shelves clear?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any questions on any of these words we have in this vocabulary? Okay.
Mm,
So we are going to use this vocabulary with some count and non-count nouns. I mean, these can be considered count nouns because you can count them. They have a plural form and a singular form, yeah? But we've talked about count and non-count nouns in level A1, but we only talked about count and non-count nouns. I mean, when you have a singular form and a plural form, or only one form that is not singular nor plural in food, only with food words. But now we're going to talk about things, no food. So we're going to use how much and how many with quantifiers. Check. Using, for example, first, how many? How many is used with count nouns, which means that you have a singular form and a plural form of that noun. In this case, I am going to use cupboards. How many cupboards are there? If you want to know, because maybe you're about to rent that apartment and you're interested on having the cupboards you need, not too many, not a, not a few, but only the cupboards you need. Yeah. So here we're not going to set a reference on if something is too many or a few, but on the thing you need, how many of them you need. For example, how many cupboards are there? You can answer this question with there are, because this is a plural form, a lot of cupboards. But check, I repeat, a lot of also depends on your perspective. Yeah? Because if you have 5 cupboards there in your kitchen, then for you, 5 cupboards can be a lot of them because you're single, you are the only one who is going to use the kitchen, you don't have a lot of dishes, you don't have a lot of things to put in those cupboards. Yeah. So for you, 5 can be a lot of cupboards. Yeah. Imagine 3 here and 2 right here. Oof, a lot of cupboards for me. But if this apartment or this house is going to be for a family of 5, then 5 cupboards there is not going to be a lot of cupboards. Yeah. But maybe the reference would be less. So here a lot of would depend. Or you can also say there are some. There are some cupboards. Check. Some is mostly used when there are 2 or 3. When the context applies for some more, then it can be 3 or 4. But it would also depend on your perspective. But considering the number of cupboards that is usually in a kitchen, we would say that 5 cupboards in a kitchen can be a lot. Some cupboards in a kitchen can be 3 or 4. And when we use there are a few cupboards, these would be 2. Yeah. But because we're talking about cupboards, if we talk about something else, a few can also be 3 or even 4. So it depends on what you're talking about. But when using a count noun in a plural form, you can say a lot of, some, or a few. And when this is negative, you are going to use there aren't. You can say there aren't many cupboards. So I insist. It depends on your perspective. It depends on how many cupboards you need. For example, if we were saying that a few are 2 or 3, for some people that would be okay. You can say, oh, there are a few cupboards, but the cupboards I need. But considering 3, for some other people, it would be not many. It's like, no, there aren't many cupboards. So they need more, or they were expecting for more. Yeah. It would also depend on the perspective, on how many of them you need, and depending on what is the thing you're talking about. And for 0, you would use there aren't any cupboards. Any cupboards for 0. So not many a few, some, or a lot of may vary in number as a reference. In number as a reference. That doesn't mean they have an exact amount or an exact number we can consider in order for you to use them. Okay? We're going to see some examples. But until now, do you have any questions about these answers? Now check with non-count nouns. Non-count because they don't have a singular form nor a plural form. How much? How much light is there? Check. The noun we're talking about in this question is light. This is the noun we're talking about. Yeah? But look at my window. Can you see my window behind me? Oh, it's a huge window. Yeah? The huge window I have. The light from this question is the light from the sun that comes through the window. Okay? The light from this question is the light from the sun that comes through the window. Okay? If I close the curtains, I don't have any light. If I open the curtains, I have light. Yeah? So this light I'm talking about is a non-count noun because I'm talking about the light from the sun. Got it? But we can also consider light as a count noun. But when I'm talking about this, I have here, you see? When I'm talking about lights, a count noun, I'm talking about the light bulbs. Yeah? So I can say I have one light, two lights, three lights. Yeah? When I'm talking about artificial light, electricity. Yeah? This is a count noun. One light, two lights, three lights. But the light from the sun is a non-count noun. Okay? The light we have in the question is a non-count noun. So we don't have a singular form or a plural form. Now, considering light as a non-count noun, we can use the singular form of the verb be, not the plural form. There is, which can be contracted, different to there are, which cannot be contracted. We cannot say there are, no, but there are. Yeah, we cannot contract there are, but we can contract there is. There's a lot of. Again, so there's no difference between using a lot of for count nouns or a lot of for non-count nouns. There's no difference, but the verb be. There's a lot of light. So look at it. It's a big window, so there's a lot of light from the sun. You can also say some. There's some light. Or there's a little light. Different to a count noun where you use a few. With a non-count noun, you use a little. But I'm not talking about the size, how big or little something is. No, I'm talking about the quantity of light that comes through the window. So we can see there's a lot of light. Woof. We can see everything. It's not dark at all. Or we may have some light if you open the curtains or you paint the room in white, you may have more light that reflects from the sun. Yeah. But if you say you have or there's a little light, it's because maybe the position of the house is not correct, or the window is too small, or you have big curtains. Yeah, so there's a little light. Ooh, no, I like a lot of light in a room. Yeah, and you also have a negative form. There isn't. Instead of using many, you use much. There isn't much light in here. Or there isn't again with any. There isn't any light. So you can say it's not dark because it's the day, but there isn't any light. Maybe, as I was saying, the position of the house is not okay. Yeah, the light from the sun gives from this side, and the window of the house is from this side, so it's different. There isn't any light. It doesn't mean you don't see because it's completely dark. No, but there isn't any light from the sun. Yeah, that doesn't mean it's completely zero, but it's not the light you wanted to have. Okay, from this non-count part, do you have any questions? Okay, check that this is not a singular form. Okay, this is a non-count noun. Okay, check the difference with light, which is a non-count noun, and cupboards, which is a count noun. We have how many and how much. Both use a lot of and some, but with count nouns you use a few, and with non-count nouns you use a little. With count nouns you use not many, and with non-count nouns you use not much. The rest is the same. Got it? Okay, let's practice. Let me erase this. Check. Live at home. There's a lot of light through the window. Cross out the word that doesn't usually belong in each list. For example, bedroom. In a bedroom, you may have a dresser, you may have a closet, but a dishwasher? No. So you cross out the dishwasher. For a bathroom, sink, sofa, or shower? Nayeli?
Shower?
A shower in the bathroom? What
Oh
is the
no,
one?
Sofa.
A
sink.
sofa. Yes.
Mm-mm.
So doesn't belong, right? You don't have a
Oh,
sofa in the bathroom. Okay.
mhm.
Janice, what about the living room?
Toilet.
Yeah, you're not supposed to have a toilet in the living room.
Second.
You have an armchair, you have a coffee table, yeah, but not a toilet. What about the kitchen? Irma?
Yes, teacher, is but too.
Yeah, so not a bathtub in the kitchen. You don't relax in the kitchen. You're not supposed to have a bathtub there. But a refrigerator and cupboards, of course. Jenny, what about a bedroom?
A bedroom is like a shower. Or
From
refrigerator.
check, it's number 5.
Mm-hmm.
So from these options we have in the bedroom, we have curtain, stove, and bed. What is the one that doesn't belong to a bedroom? What don't we have in a bedroom?
Stuff.
A stove, right? So no, we don't have a stove in the bedroom because we don't cook in the bedroom, right? Okay. Now, with this vocabulary, let's check some images so we can relate them and we don't translate. Number 2, complete the sentences with some of the words from exercise 1. Stuff for sale. Check that this word stuff, it's talking about things. Things in general. Stuff. Things in general. For sale, it's because they're not in the original price, because they're not new. Yeah? They are not in the original price because they're not new. Stuff for sale. Things we don't use. First one. Look at it. Here we have it says, I'm selling my bed and they're 2 years old, 150.
Dresser.
Armature.
Dresser. Yes. Gustavo, what about the second picture? For sale, an old
Um, dresser? No, curtains?
it's more this for one person.
Armchair.
Sofa. Sofa.
It's an arm
Armchair.
chair for only one person. Now, Gustavo, can you please read the full
Oh,
ad?
yeah. For sale, an old armchair, $50. Email earth27 at cup.org.
Okay. This is not a point, but a dot. When you're
Dot.
talking about internet, dot. So
Yeah.
r27 at cup.org. Thanks. Isa, what about the next picture? Please complete this and read it. Do you have it?
Yes, teacher. We're selling our sofa and coffee table.
Click here to respond, right? Janice, what about the next picture?
House for sale. 2 bedrooms, a big kitchen with a dishwasher.
Yes, with a dishwasher.
Is it?
Nayeli, what about the next one?
I can make curtains for your bedroom or living room. Call Susie al 222-5678.
Thank you. And Maria, what about the last one?
I can fix your stove and dishwasher. Email Jason at gfix at cop.com.
Yes. Email jason at jfix@cop.com. Perfect. So try to identify the things you have in all the rooms you have in your house, okay? Remember, the point here is that you learn how to think in English, which means that you keep English in English, not so you look for Spanish to comprehend English, right? This is something we've said before. And in order for you to start thinking in English more, you need to say this in a real situation for you. So point to with your finger, point to, tip, 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 point to. This is my bed. This is my dresser. This is my closet. This is my living room. I have an armchair, a sofa, a coffee table. I don't have a coffee table. I have a refrigerator in my kitchen. I have cupboards in my kitchen. I have a stove. Yeah, say these things in English because most people, as I was saying before, they think they have little English, just a little English. So, teacher, how do you say this in English? You look for things you have in your mind in Spanish and you look for them in English, right? This is a very common reaction, a very common symptom. You look for things from Spanish in English. So how do you say blah blah in English, right? This is a very common reaction. You are going to find and remember the vocabulary you've learned in English when you give your brain the opportunity to use and keep the English it has. So don't translate and practice. Use this little English you have to practice your English. When your brain starts recognizing more English every day, it will use the English you have. Okay? And you won't forget. I assure you are not going to forget your English. Now, think about the options you may have here. What's in your home? Complete the chart with the words from the box. Look at it. The answers here may vary because it's not supposed to be the same. But we also have some very common stuff in a home, yeah? Something that most people have. For example, in the kitchen, 3 cupboards, a sink, a refrigerator. Yeah? You are not going to write full sentences, only the number and the thing you have in the quantity, in the number you have them. Example, in the kitchen, 3 cupboards, a sink, and refrigerator. Considering the words we have from the box, this box, what do you have in your living room? What's common in your living room?
Sofa.
Sofa
Sofa, only a sofa,
and armchair, a sofa,
an
and
armchair,
armchair, a coffee table,
coffee table.
Curtains.
Okay. Curtains.
curtains,
What else?
Shelves.
Shelves. Shelves.
Shelves. Shelves. Shelves. Can you or do you remember how many of them you have? Who said shelves? Do you remember the number of shelves you have?
3.
Okay. This number may vary, right? This number may vary. There are some people who have shelves from the top to the bottom. I mean, from the floor to the ceiling. Yeah? And they have a lot, only so they can put some stuff there, pictures, figures, or something, some souvenirs, right? What about the kitchen? What do you have in your kitchen?
refrigerator,
Dishwasher.
dishwasher,
Refrigerator, dishwasher,
cups, boards,
cupboards. Do you
Sink.
know how many cupboards you have?
a lot of cupboards,
In number, can you identify them?
many,
But in number, one,
oh,
two, three, four,
6.
six.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's say. Yeah. Why do I ask for the number and not for the quantifier? Because we are only going to use it as a reference. Yeah. So you are not going to give the exact number all the time, but you can say, poof, I got a lot of cupboards and I don't use them all. Yeah. So it's only as a reference. Okay.
Sink.
What else?
Sink.
A sink in the
Stove.
kitchen. Yeah.
Stove.
Shower.
Stove.
A stove.
Stuff.
Anything else? Okay, this may be different, right? If you live in Mexico, you may not have a dishwasher. I'm not saying because you can't, but that is not common, right? Well, it would depend. What about in your bedroom?
Bed.
Bed,
A bed for sure,
Closet.
closet,
a closet,
Dresser,
a
Curtain.
dresser,
Time.
curtains,
curtains.
Shower.
no,
Okay.
Oh,
Well, you wouldn't say I have a shower in the
baño,
bedroom,
¿y qué
but I
más?
have a bathroom in the bedroom. Yeah, you could say. Not a toilet, but a bathroom, yes, right? And in the bathroom, you may
Sofa.
have a sofa in your bedroom,
Yes.
Yes.
okay? A sofa. The sofa can be big or small, right?
All.
It
Small.
depends.
Yes.
Something else?
Armchair.
Okay. It could also be shelves
Tall.
or an armchair, right? So in the sofa, we have more things than any other room in the house. Armchairs and shelves. Sofa's bigger. So let's say armchair. What about the bathroom?
But
Shower.
Shower.
A
A
shower,
Toilet.
shower.
a toilet,
Bathtub.
a
Bathtub.
bathtub.
But
Yes.
Pink.
Sink.
A sink,
Shelves.
shelves again. Yes. How many shelves do you have in the bathroom?
A lot of shelves.
Can you think of a reference in number?
Um, 5.
Okay,
Is
yeah, there are a lot of. Okay, it's because so we are going to consider the reference, right? You may have more, you may have less. Okay. Okay, talking about a shower, toilet, bathroom, sink, bed, closet, dresser, um, we cannot have more than one, right? Talking about the specific room, we may not have, oh, well, in the bedroom, there can be more than one bed, right? It depends. If it's only your bedroom where you live alone, you may only have one bed. But if you still live with your parents, you may have two or more beds in your bedroom, right? It depends. If you still sleep with your brothers and sisters, it would be different. Okay. Now, I was asking for the number because in the sentences in exercise number 4, you are going to use it as a reference to write sentences with the quantifiers, yeah? Not the number, but with the quantifiers. For example, write about your home. Use some, a few, many, and any, and the words in parentheses. Not all the quantifiers we wrote, but only some, a few, many, and any. For example, talking about cupboards, there are a few cupboards in my kitchen, or there aren't many cupboards in my kitchen. We have the number as a reference only, okay? If we consider the example for 6 cupboards, yeah? If we consider this example, we can say there are a lot of cupboards in my kitchen. But what if I tell you that I have 3 cupboards in my kitchen? What is the quantifier you would use? Some, a few, many, or any?
some.
Any.
Well, some would be okay. If you say any, it's because I have 0, no cupboards in my kitchen, right? So in this case, for some people it would be some, and for some others it would be a few. If I
Some.
tell you I have 3, a few or some would be correct because it also depends on my perspective or your perspective. Yeah? What about shelves in the bedroom? Because you wrote shelves in the bedroom, but we didn't write a number. What if I say that we have 4 shelves in the bedroom?
Many.
Many or some.
Okay. There
There
are
are
many
many
shelves
shelves.
in my bedroom. Because check in my bedroom. Um, If I am using these shelves to place my toys, yeah, even when I'm an adult, I have some, oh, I forgot the name for this, but I have some cars, some little cars, yeah, that I collect. It's one of my hobbies, or some pictures or some cards from my favorite baseball team. This is just an example. I'm not a fan of baseball, but I may collect some things that I put on my shelves. And if I have 4 shelves, for me, where I collect things, I would say that there are a few. Yeah, for me, 4 shelves are not too many. But for some others who are not used to this, they may say there are many shelves in your bedroom, teacher. I there in my bedroom, then you would say there aren't any shelves, zero. So if you consider 4 in a bedroom, for you that would be many. Yeah, can you see the difference? It depends on your perspective, my perspective, on what is something usual, yeah, regular in a bedroom, etc. What about armchairs in the living room? In the living room, we actually didn't say we have armchairs. Oh yeah, an armchair. So
There,
considering one, Janice?
there is an armchair in the living room.
Okay, check. If you say there is an armchair in the living room or in my living room,
Mhm.
we are using a singular form. That is correct. Yeah, completely correct. But using one of these quantifiers, could we use some, a few, many, or any?
Um,
No, right?
no,
No, because it's only
like,
one, right?
mhm.
So we need the number as a reference, yeah. But if you had 3 armchairs in a living room, that is not usual, yeah. What quantifier would you use?
Few
Few.
or many,
Many.
many.
Well, according to my perspective, 3 armchairs in a living room, it's like, poof, really? Why don't you have a sofa? Yeah, in my
Yes,
perspective. But for some
yes.
people, it would be, you have some armchairs in your living room. In my living room, we have 5. Yeah, it
Mm.
depends. It depends. Okay. What about number 4? Maria, do you have a question or is for number 4?
Yes, no, a question.
Uh-huh.
Many is for more than a lot of?
No, well, we use many for more, yes. We can use it to talk about a bigger quantity of something. But if we use it in a negative form, you would say that is not a big quantity. Yeah. So you can use it in an affirmative way or a negative way. You can also use too many in order to say a lot of. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm. Do you guys have any other question?
Yes, teacher.
Mhm.
So many is correct in affirmative and negative. It's
Yes.
correct.
Mhm.
Okay.
And it is pretty
Eh,
common.
Like much, it's correct in affirmative and negative.
Like, yes.
Okay, thank
Yeah. In the examples, we wrote only one example for a lot of, one example for some, one example for a few, and we only wrote many in a negative form. Yeah. But this is not the only form we have for many. As you can see in the instruction, they write many in a base form. They don't actually add a negative or affirmative form. But can we use any in a affirmative form and a negative form? No. Any it's only used in a negative form. Okay?
you. Okay.
Now, what about number 4? Considering the closets in the house. not in only one room, but in the house, which means that you are going to consider the number of bedrooms you have and the closets you have in each of
Some.
them.
Some.
Okay, so you would say there are some closets in my house. Why do you say some? What is the number of them we can use as a reference, Jenny? Think about the real closets, the real number of closets you have at home. Don't compare it to some, just think about the real number of closets you have in your house.
More 3 or more 4?
Okay, 3 or 4, that would be okay, yeah? Some of them, if we consider you may have 3 bedrooms or 4 bedrooms, is it?
Yes.
Okay, yes, that would be something regular, but it would depend on where you live, yeah? The area where you live. If we consider the context in Mexico, having a house with 3 or 4 bedrooms with 1 closet each, that would be more than some, right? That would be a lot of, it would be like, oh, okay, wow, you have a big house, right? But if we talk about the United States, that wouldn't be that impressive. It's like, oh, okay, you have 4, that's okay for a house, okay? It depends. What about bedrooms? There are some again, if we consider the reference, right? Some bedrooms. Considering the number back, number 4, 3 or 4 bedrooms would be 3 or 4 closets, which are some bedrooms, some closets in my house. So as you can see, and we're going to start using this vocabulary a lot more with these quantifiers in more expressions, especially that many, which can be in an affirmative form or a negative form. We're going to use it a lot more, okay? But do you guys have any questions until now?
Yes, me.
Uh-huh.
In the number 1, is there a lot or
There
are
are.
a lot?
There are, sorry.
Oh, okay.
There are. I missed the verb be.
Okay.
So there are a lot of cupboards. Yes, thank you. Do you have any other question? Okay, so only practice this, say it out loud. Say it out loud. Go to every room in your house and point to all the things you have. And give the reference, some, a few, a lot of, not many, any. Yeah? Use it in an affirmative form or a negative form. This is just so you think in English. So to be honest, this is not something we consider to talk about every day in our lives, but it's something we use to think in English. Okay, that's it. It's part of real life. And tomorrow we're going to continue practicing this. So I recommend that from tomorrow on, if you don't drink coffee, you have one during class because we're going to need it with the phrasal verbs. That would be it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, teacher. See you
Thank
tomorrow.
you. Bye, guys. Thanks. Bye.